Namaste, my name is Zehra Naqvi and I'm the spokesperson for the U.S. Embassy in Nepal. Americans recognize March as Women's History Month. In honor of that, we've brought together some of our women leaders at the U.S. mission to have a conversation. Please introduce yourselves.
Namaste, Zehra. I'm Karen Welch. I'm the Acting Mission Director for the U.S. Agency for International Development in Nepal. I oversee the operations and programming.
Namaste, I'm Shalane Bliss. I lead the consular section here at the embassy, and we provide all the visa services, immigration cases, and we also provide services to Americans living or visiting in Nepal.
Namaste, I'm Heather Smith. I'm the management counselor of the embassy. We do all the internal logistics.
Namaste, Zehra. I'm Leanne Toomey, former chief of police in the United States and now serve with the Department of Justice, the International Criminal Investigative Training Assistance Program, which means that I have the privilege to serve those who serve the Nepali people in the public safety area doing development work with them.
Namaste, my name is Keema Najiullah, Director of Programming and Training for Peace Corps Nepal. We support American volunteers serving local communities here.
So it's great to hear the important work that each of you are doing. I'd love to hear about why you chose to do this work.
USAID is all about creating opportunities to improve lives and positive change. And I've always been in a helping profession. Started out as a school teacher, worked as a public servant in other areas. And so I chose USAID as a profession to be able to find ways to create positive change and improve lives of people all over the world.
I really enjoy the work that I do in the consular section and with the Department of State because I get to be part of a really strong team. We have really clear goals. And we get to work together through really varied circumstances. And as we move from country to country every few years, we get to see different cultural aspects and ideas for how to best take on that work.
For me, I love management work because we get to work as a team as well. And we work as a unit to make sure that everything that's supposed to happen happens. And so it's very concrete. We can see what we've done at the end of the day, but I know that when the ambassador leaves here, every single thing that happens only happens because the management section is behind the scenes making it happen. And so I get a lot of satisfaction from that, and I just love working with a big group of people.
I love that. You make sure what's supposed to happen happens. Thank you.
Great answer. I think I'll follow a little bit on what Karen had said, actually. I think this job and my other whole adult life profession has been in service, public service, and what I see as human service work. And to be able to serve in this capacity after my whole adult life, being in that way, in a different culture, working in a different team environment, I think it called to me that, and I really like adventure.
So Peace Corps is all about world peace and friendship. And as a person who served as a Peace Corps volunteer 20 years ago, I wanted to be a part of recreating that opportunity for other people.
So you're all leaders, diplomats, and role models. What advice do you have for others, men and women, about leading?
My advice is to listen first and to listen actively. And that means asking questions, hearing what others have to say. Also, it's an important responsibility of a leader to cultivate leadership in others and to find opportunities for that.
In my opinion, communication is key to leadership. And I think as a strong leader, you should speak from a genuine place and honestly, and not be afraid to have hard conversations, but to do so empathetically and to always listen first before giving advice. I also think that it's important not just to focus on the work goals that you have, but to also work on yourself and to continuously solicit feedback from the people you work with so that you can become a stronger leader over time.
So my advice is to make it not about you. It's about your team, figuring out what motivates them and creating an environment with which they can be successful. The other thing I think is that you need to provide clear directions and a parameter, a strategy. You have to, in order to be a leader, you have to have followers, right? And so you want to create an environment in which people will follow you.
I would suggest that if you become a leader in anywhere in your organization, you can lead. And remember that that's about people as opposed to managing things. So it's important to know that everyone wants to feel listened to, be heard, to feel a part of something bigger than themselves, and to feel like they're contributing to that. So as a leader, from my perspective, my role is to elevate the people that I work with, to get the most that they can bring to the team so we succeed together.
So my advice is to look to your team. They have valuable education, resources, experiences, networks you can build upon and use to guide you through your tough times. And it's important to have their support backing you when you're making tough decisions.
So in all of your experiences, what does positive allyship look like? Male allies or from others as well?
Zehra, what comes to mind is allies are people who recognize when someone else needs support. And when we're talking about a male ally in the workplace, for instance, in my experience, I've received great support and from allies who have helped me find positions where I can lead, where I can speak and my voice can be heard.
I think an ally is someone who tries to be conscious of their own bias and aware and listening for bias around them, and is willing to stand up, intervene as a bystander when they think they see bias playing out in the workplace.
So Zehra, I think a strong ally is somebody who gives credit where credit is due. So if you do something, that you receive the credit for what you do, and somebody who listens. And when there's a decision to be made and you've made the suggestion, is there supporting you?
I think allyship in particular, because, you know, my adult life was in a very male-dominated profession and environment, is that the allies were the folks who recognized themselves and the other person that they were dealing with and valued that different perspective that came there. They were willing to understand that we might have been doing the same thing and having, you know, in the same environment, but the experience was different for me than from him. And that made us stronger. If we were able to, if you're able to hear the other perspective, walk, you know, the extra mile in the moccasins or the sandals, and then you can do those things, right? You recognize that somebody's passionate about something, and that you value that, and you can show that by listening and then responding to that in a way.
So male allyship, for me, looks like having no tolerance for sexual harassment or gender-based discrimination in the workplace.
Well, thank you all for this great discussion. I know it wasn't a very long discussion, but I learned a lot from each of you, and I thank you for your time and for the service that you're doing. This Women's History Month, I hope you celebrate the women in your life today and every day. Thank you so much for joining us. Namaste.